Hey, welcome back to Defton Daily, and today I'd like to give an overview and review of my Acura Integra GSR sedan. I've had the car for a little over a year now, and I'd like to share some of the things that I like and dislike about it. Now, many of you probably already realize that one of the main selling points and draws to this particular car is the engine itself, which has VTEC. Now, as someone who owns the car and who has been driving it for the past year and a half, I will give my realistic point of view from actually owning this car and driving it around. When you're doing regular city driving and regular highway driving and keeping the RPMs pretty low, the car is actually pretty boring. But once you step on it and get VTEC engaged, that's where all the fun happens. And it's at that point that you're reminded that you don't need the most amount of horsepower to have fun in a car. You basically just need a car that's high revving, has a manual transmission, and is just ready to go when you step on it. And that's where all the fun really comes in. Now, for non-Integra people, you may not have realized that after a certain model year, they actually gave this car a facelift. So my car is a 1998, and that's the year they actually changed the headlight design, and I believe they repositioned the badge. So Integras that are 97 and below, those headlights are actually a little bit smaller, and I also believe that the turn signal design might be a little bit different as well. Now, one thing to note about these old 90s Acuras and Hondas is that they have smaller wheels. And you'll notice here, these wheels are pretty small by today's standards. And what we have here are 15-inch wheels. I don't know the exact specs, but I'll probably put them on the screen. Now, although these wheels are small by today's standards, because of the design of the car, they actually look pretty fitting. And I actually plan on keeping the wheels as is because the GSR blades are actually highly sought after in the Acura and Honda community. Plus, I think Acura did a really good job with the design of these wheels. I think they look really good, and I basically have no reason to change them. It's actually kind of weird getting back here. I'm not used to sitting back here. And if I'm being honest, even though it's a sedan, it's not really that much space back here. I'm 5 foot enough. And let's just say, this is not a place that I would like to be on a long road trip. Now, what this space is actually great for is extra storage, small kids, and dogs, which is basically who sits in the back of my Integra. He has the whole thing to himself. And basically we have his doggy seat, and we also use it as extra storage for crap that doesn't fit in the trunk. Now, for a guy like myself, this car is big enough for me. I have decent leg room, but I'm also not the very tallest person in the world. What I can say is that the passenger footwell area is a little bit on the small side. My wife actually has pretty long legs, and she can't really fully extend her legs in like, a bigger sedan or something along those lines. So anything over like a 3-hour road trip is probably not in her best interest. You can also see that I have the infamous tan interior that a lot of people love to hate, and I completely understand why they hate it. I mean, it shows all the dirt. But I actually kind of grew to love it. I think it looks really good with the green on tan. I think it looks really good with the green paint. And I actually follow a Facebook group called Green Over Tan, where there's a lot of people like myself that just love that color combination. Overall, I feel like this is a pretty nice place to be. And I feel like Acura did a really good job on the interior of this car. Also feel like it's held up pretty well for something that's almost 30 years old. Not a lot of crazy tears and rips, but I think that's also due to the previous owner who took really good care of it. And to my knowledge, she's a single woman and didn't really have a family or kids or pets or anything like that. So everything seemingly is in pretty decent shape. Here's something you probably don't see every day. So this Integra actually comes with seat heaters for both the driver and the passenger. Now, I will let you know that the passenger side seat heater is the only one that currently works. And mine's on the driver's side doesn't work, so my wife enjoys her toasty buns in the winter. To my understanding, this was a custom edition that the original owner had, I believe, the Acura dealership install. That's all I really know about it. I don't plan to do anything about the broken seat heater because I don't really care for it. Will I uninstall it one day? Maybe, but it's just really not a priority right now. It doesn't really bother me. Got a little small glove box here. You're not keeping too much in there, but it's enough to keep all my tissues and napkins in there for when I'm checking the oil. Another one of my gripes with this car is the puny little cup holders. Now, standard water bottles won't fit Anything that's like a, you know, a metal water bottle these days most likely won't fit. You're definitely not fitting any Stanley cups. You know what you probably can fit is like your standard little tin cans of like Coke and sodas and whatnot. But I actually found this water bottle here that is it's kind of skinny and narrow, and it's like the perfect fit. So this is what I consider my Integra specific water bottle that I carry on road trips with me, because I know it'll fit and it's guaranteed. I do plan to keep the original radio in and probably never going to take it out because I kind of just like the way it looks. But I do have this Apple CarPlay unit that I got from Amazon. I'm not endorsing them, but this really makes it easy for me to, you know, modernize my car and be able to connect to Bluetooth. It has a built-in dash cam, and I can also link up the backup camera one day when I get around to doing that as well. And one of the biggest and most obvious differences between the coupe and sedan is that, well, this is a sedan and the back end is a little bit different than the coupe. Besides the glass, one of the most noticeable differences is actually in the tail lights. The coupe has single tail light units. The sedan actually has split tail lights, and that's because of the way the trunk is designed. So the split is right here. So when you open the trunk, it splits up. One of my love-hate relationships with this car is the engine, of course. Well, the engine is great. Love the VTEC. Do it probably at least once every time I drive the car. When I'm not engaging in VTEC and trying to just drive like a normal person, sometimes I feel like I am the slowest person on the road. I don't know. I think it's just our modern cars, you know, just technology is caught up with us and everything is just able to accelerate so much faster these days. I mean, I feel like every time I look in my rearview mirror, there's a Tesla trailing behind me. I need to get a rear view cam so I can start catching that. So needless to say, I feel like I'm forced to speed. And what does that mean? If I'm forced to, you know, keep the car in higher rev ranges, I'm pretty much just burning a lot more gas than what I normally would like to. But, you know, no complaints there. I mean, I did choose to buy this car. I could have bought something way more fuel efficient, but, you know, then it wouldn't be a 98 Acura Integra GSR. So I think I'd much rather have this and just deal with the extra gas that I'm spending. Now, I know I said I wasn't going to do any VTEC pulls, but I decided to go to an area that's not too far away from me where I could maybe do a little bit of canyon carving. Can't go too fast. Obviously, it's still wet outside. These tires probably aren't warmed up. I actually need new tires. But we'll see if we can have some fun so you guys can kind of experience what I get to experience when I decide to, you know, push this thing a little bit. That second gear is pretty strong. Good thing about a car like this is you could pretty much have fun with it and just stay below the speed limit. Like I'm still in first gear. I don't even know if I'm going 30 miles per hour. This car's making all this noise, hitting it in VTEC. Let's get that in second. And we got to come to a stop. Alright, I think second gear is probably a little too much for these roads, so we are going to chill out. Take it easy on these curvy back roads. Good thing it looks like everybody's staying in their yellow lines. This is the main reason why you want an Acura Integra. And once you start to build up on the suspension a little bit, then you have like a pretty solid little canyon carver right here. It's not always about the speed. It's always just about the experience and the fun and, you know, having a rev happy vehicle. And I cannot wait until the rest of my suspension components come in the mail so I could finally get rid of all these old struts and springs and bushings and really tighten it up because I feel like this car has a lot more to give. And I guess I can close this video out as I'm making my way back and see if I can do a couple more pulls. In conclusion, this car is not perfect, as no car is ever perfect. It has its flaws here and there, but it's a good, reliable little car. And I haven't had any super crazy major issues with it. But pretty much any time that I drive this car, a little hard and drive it as it's intended to be driven, I kind of forget all about all the other crap that I don't like about the car. For instance, the crazy gas prices right now, and this car taking premium fuel, which that sucks, but I wouldn't trade it for anything else. So with that said, let's see if I can do one more nice little pull here on my way back. Also got to watch out for deer, foxes, coyotes, rabbits, all types of things. So you can't go too crazy in a place like this where there's plenty of animals and wildlife. And I can totally understand why someone would get bored with a platform like this. I mean, it's 170 horsepower. And you don't even get all of that horsepower unless you're really putting your foot into it. But anytime that I'm like flooring it and really giving it all that it has, it sometimes kind of shocks me and reminds me that, I am less skilled than what this car has to offer, and 170 horsepower is enough for a person like me who is not a trained race car driver or anything like that. So I don't think I'll ever get bored of this car. We almost got to 8,000 RPM right there. This is what I love this car for. Only got it to about 6,500 there. Oh, look, there's a speeding sign. Tells me to slow down, so we are going to slow down. We don't need no problems. And that's pretty much it. So thanks for joining me on this ride and overview/review video and things I like and dislike about my car. If you've continued to watch this far, feel free to let me know what type of content that you all like. I'm still trying to figure out this YouTube thing. I'm still really new to it. And while I do plan to cover the journey of this car in its entirety of the ownership, entirety of the time that I own it, which is for life, I am kind of interested to see like what kind of content do people actually like to see. Is it more of me just talking about the car? Is it, people working on the car? I'm not the most mechanically inclined, so I'm not going to be doing too much stuff. But yeah, no, I'm curious about that. Or is it driving clips? I personally really like doing the driving clips because I'm always driving anyway. And, whenever I have a chance to, hook up my cameras and go for a nice little spirited drive, I feel like that's pretty easy content for me to make rather consistently. So, just feel free to shoot it in the comment section and let me know. But in the meantime, thanks again, and look forward to hopefully having you viewing my videos in the future.